We had the whole Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa takeover, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was a tough decision for Saban to make, but he made it because the better quarterback ultimately ended up being Tua. And we know what happened with Hurts. He transfers to Oklahoma. The rest is history. He's had a good career so far in the NFL, but it was Tua that they relied on when they needed it most in that championship game. I wonder if we're seeing that happen at Texas. Quinn Ewers, clearly benched in that second quarter this past weekend against Georgia. That was on Saturday. Rewind 2 days. On Thursday, last Thursday, Steve Sarkisian is asked, what would it take to actually see Arch Manning in the game? And he dismissed it like, let's ask me something else. Like, it's not going to happen. Until it did. And it happened fast. Because we weren't seeing great play from Quinn Ewers. Now, Ewers then told the media this week he didn't find out he was actually going back into the game till halftime. But his demeanor on the sideline in the second quarter looked like he had, just been benched. And we were seeing Arch take over. If you'll do it in the big moment there, then they've already started some of the controversy anytime Quinn Ewers is going to play like he played this past Saturday. I think we may see the Arch Manning takeover. And it's something that Chad and I, that we've discussed before the season even started. Where would see Manning in the SEC for year one for Texas? We've seen him, but will we really see the takeover? I think there will come a point in time where they lean on the younger player here. And it's because of the expectation that Texas would have had, by the way, had they not been the SEC, it would have been championship or bust. And now it's ensure that you get to the college football playoff. And then what does it take to win? Had Arch Manning played well in that second quarter, he's not relinquishing the title of starter. He's their quarterback. I wonder if we don't see it happen before season's end.
Hutton, it always felt strange that Arch Manning, with his lineage, his legacy, his celebrity going into college, that he was going to go somewhere and sit for 2 whole years. Of all the places he could have gone to be the starter, to go sit for 2 years never felt likely. Now, I'll also say, he's got 2 very famous uncles who famously finished school and finished their eligibility.
Yep.
So he's probably the type of guy who's not going to leave early for the NFL draft, even though he's going to be a top 5 pick, possibly one day. So that's on the horizon for him. Your theory, though, does make some sense to me because that would circumvent that 2-year hiatus of him not being the guy somewhere if this starts to happen. Now, you look at Texas's remaining schedule, and it's easy to say they should win out. They should win the rest of these games going up to Texas A&M until you get to the road game at Kyle Field. They got Vanderbilt on the road this weekend. Bye week, Florida at home, at Arkansas, Kentucky. They should win those games. But here's what we know about the SEC. They will absolutely face adversity in these games.
Yes.
At some point. They're going to have a couple of interceptions. They're going to be down in the third or fourth quarter. They're going to have a halftime game that you think, oh, wow, what's going on with Texas in this game? It's going to happen. What's inevitable about this year's SEC is that not only will the unexpected happen, it's going to happen, but also it's not that unexpected because there's so much more balance and parity from top to bottom in the conference. Vanderbilt this weekend is a great example, and that's going to be Texas's opponent. So, yeah, I think there's going to be a time where they go back to Arch Manning. Now, the question is, what does Arch Manning do with it? Because on Saturday, now, they weren't blocking Georgia at all, so whoever the quarterback wasn't going to have much of a chance. But they went to Arch Manning with a chance to give them a spark, and he did nothing with it for a couple of drives. Then they went back to Quinn Ewers because of that. If Quinn is struggling at some point in these games, is Arch going to have a better chance to come in and be that spark that Steve Sarkisian wanted against Georgia? Yeah. I think against the rest of their schedule, he will have a better chance.
And it has everyone asking that question. When does it go back to Manning because Arch gives them a better spark or a potential spark than the way Quinn Ewers is playing? Again, Quinn Ewers, Heisman hopeful to begin the season, We've known for not being able to stay healthy, but was playing very well up until the injury. And now that he's back, some bumps along this path. Sark has already made the decision to go and try the Manning idea to provide that spark. Didn't necessarily work against Georgia. It could work against some of the other opponents that Chad just laid out. It worked for Alabama when they went to Tua over Jalen Hurts, who had been the guy. And Saban made that move. Damian Harris, who is on a part of the Until Saturday podcast, was on that Alabama team when they made the move to Tua, and it affects the entire roster, even on game day in the huddle. Here he is.
There came a point, obviously Jalen was wonderful. He was great. He was SEC Offensive Player of the Year his freshman year, I think. I mean, he was spectacular. But there came a point after some time, and, we had this great young kid named Tua. There was a point in time where people started to wonder, like, I wonder if Tua gives us a little bit of a better passing attack. I wonder if, his arm, what he can do throwing the football can give us a better chance. Because keep in mind, at the time, we had a whole stable full of running backs. I mean, no offense, Jalen, we didn't need an extra running back. And once the rumbling started to get a little bit louder and a little bit louder, and then I remember in that Vandy game where we absolutely demolished Vandy, everybody played well, but Tua, the backups came in the second half of that game, and Tua was making some unbelievable plays to where we're like, no, this dude he might be the guy. Like, we've got the guy, but he might be the guy. And then once we started to enter the huddle with Jalen, his demeanor, I'm not going to say it was different, but I could just tell. And as players, you can tell. So even if he's not necessarily giving off that energy, that awkward energy, you can tell because he knows that if he goes and makes a mistake, this guy is going to get a chance. And so then you wonder if that starts to affect his play and, his style. And is he too conservative because he doesn't want to make mistakes? And these are all the things that I see playing out with Quinn Ewers. I mean, he is the guy, but then we're looking at Arch Manning likely he might be the guy. And we know he's going to be the guy in the future. And so this is, a good problem to have, but it's bad in a sense of, what does this do for Quinn Ewers' psyche? I believe Sark will handle it well throughout the rest of the season, but I just worry about Quinn's mental fortitude moving forward because now.
Mental fortitude moving forward. Again, that's from the former Bama running back who has seen this happen and play out before. We're going to see it play out again. Quinn Ewers plays very well in big moments on the road. And for whatever reason, at home this past weekend did not. And it didn't take Sark very long to try something else.
Well, just bringing in Arch Manning, just his presence and having him in the quarterback room, that would be enough to damage the psyche of a lot of quarterbacks.
And Ewers still came back. Yeah, you're right. That's a good point.
I mean, he came back, and he's the guy. So I don't think coming out for 2 series, the way they ended, and then being put back in the game, that's going to damage him that much. It's really interesting from Damian Harris about Jalen Hurts' response to Tua coming in and mop-up duty against Vandy and lighting them up, and then he was different after that. That's not a good sign.
There's a buzz
That's
there.
not a great compliment to Jalen Hurts in that situation that he would have changed because of that. But quarterbacks are different.
And this is the first real sense of any inkling of a controversy.
We don't talk about the safety psyche or mental fortitude if they get pulled in a game for a younger guy to come in and play for them, right? Or the outside linebacker, hey, we're going to go to a different guy because you're not getting the job done.
Right.
So we're going to take this guy out and put him in, right? We don't say, boy, I wonder what this is going to do to this guy's psyche. The left guard doesn't get the benefit of the doubt. All right, we need to go with someone else. Boy, I wonder what's going to do to the left guard psyche. But the quarterback, we talk about things like mental fortitude that Damian Harris just referenced, what could possibly happen with Quinn Ewers. I'd like to think that he's mentally tough enough, and also he's battled so many injuries, and he's had to go out for injuries that if he were taken out of a game, knowing that he's going to have a chance to come back, a la the Georgia game this past weekend,
right,
that he would handle it appropriately and be fine. But these guys have been top dog everywhere they've been. And if you're the quarterback, it is high profile. And when you're taken out of a game, it's a big deal.
Well,
whether the coach wants it to be a big deal or not, it's a big deal.
And
that's why I laughed at the TV, on Saturday saying, Oh, he just needs a break. Just needs a blow. I think Quinn Ewers needed a break, guys, and now he's back in the game. When Arch came, I'm thinking, no, it's a much bigger deal than that. When you healthy scratch Quinn Ewers in the middle of a game like that for Arch Manning, which very well could happen again.
And Sark was asked, what would it take? And he dismissed it.
Yeah.
2 days later, it took about a quarter and a half is what it took. Chad, Tua Tagovailoa, speaking of him, he's back in the lineup this week. If all things go well, practice today and then again tomorrow, he's going to clear concussion protocol officially, and he'll be the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins. Tyreek Hill, well, he says everyone's back.
We're back, baby. Strike up the band. We're back, baby. Start me this week, baby. Let's go.
I love the enthusiasm.
Jalen Waddle's thinking the same thing. They've got.
We wouldn't want to say something like, "Man, Tua's back," but I don't. It's different. It's very different around here. I don't know we're ever going to be the same. That's not what you want your star receiver saying.
One big thing is coming up later, but with the Dolphins, they scored 70 points in a single game last year.
Yeah,
they have 70 points total now to this point.
Tyler Huntley, I think, has 70 poorly thrown balls. Also,
Skylar
if you go
Thompson.
back and look at the numbers from the games that we watched,
Skylar Thompson.
It's a bad group.
Chet, a bad look for Ryan Williams. I don't know if you know this, but the receiver at Bama is 17 years old.
Oh, is he?
Yeah, I didn't know if you knew that or
not. You know
not.
that he's the youngest guy to ever lose to Vandy in football?
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Still one of my favorite tweets of the year.
He's also someone who paints his nails. I don't know if this is the Caleb Williams style or not, but here he is with orange painted nails. Of course, this comes with the other fact that they played the Tennessee Volunteers. Bama did. And he reveals on the coach's show this week that he lets his sister paint his nails each week because she's very good at it, more or less. That she has been working on this for a while, and she enjoys painting his nails before games. But also admitted that players in the locker room were, kind of ticked off at the fact that it just so happened to be orange this week. Like, hey, are you pulling for the other team? Add this to the list of things we never see with a Nick Saban roster. I can't help but think that.
So, did Ryan Williams post that, or did Emily Toth? Looks like he's like posting on his story something Emily Toth posted.
Yeah. Where he's tagged on this?
Regardless.
Yes.
Like, just, you got to, at some point, if you're a high-profile college football player, just ask yourself, does this serve me or the team at all? And I'm sure I sound like Nick Saban right now.
Oh,
apparently I'm getting older and I'm turning into Nick Saban. But you have to ask yourself, who does this serve?
Players in the locker room.
Like, if you're posting a photo after you lost to a team in orange, that now T-shirts are being printed because Josh Heupel said post-game to ESPN, hell of a day to wear the orange. And you lost to a team where you were blanketed in orange all day and had a bunch of targets and not a lot of catches. And you paint your fingernails orange and post a photo of it. Just who does that serve? Like, I never thought, oh, Ryan Williams, is he teasing a transfer to Tennessee or anything? I didn't buy into that. But people do. And people are going to talk about that. And again, ask yourself, why? Who does this serve? Why am I painting my nails the color of the team that just beat me when you're playing for a team with a rabid fan base like Alabama or any major college football team? It's just a bad look. Look, I'm happy that his sister is good at nails. Okay? That's great. I mean, real feel-good story there. But just why? Why orange? Because I've been painting my nails orange since sophomore year of high school. Okay.
Not orange, just any color that she wants. Normally, it's like a clear coat, he says.
Okay. Then why? That brings me back to why orange.
I know, man. It was her choice. Just late.
Hutton, there are stories that come across here that I can't relate to the youth of today. There are many that I can, but when it comes to guys painting their nails,
don't get it.
I can't relate. I don't know how to comment on it.
It says, started my sophomore year of high school. My little sister, she decided she really liked doing nails. And first she started with my mom, and then she wanted to try on me. So I was like, I'm comfortable in my own skin. Didn't really bother me. I think first time it was just clear. Now she's gotten so much better every week. That from Ryan Williams. Just so happened to be orange. He said plenty of his teammates were confused we're confusing that he painted his nails the color orange for the Tennessee Vols. Quote, a couple of the guys, they got fired up at me. They thought it was for the opposing team. Good for them. I would too. That would be the obvious thing.
Well, again, just why? Just ask yourself this. College players everywhere. Does this serve me or the team?
But then posing post-game too.
To post this.
Also, Chad, something I would never do. You know why? My dad once told me if I ever came home with an earring, he would cut my ear off.
Yeah, that'll scare you.
I didn't have to ask about a tattoo or painting my nails or anything. Not that I wanted to. I didn't even want the earring, by the way.
Yeah,
it was just proclaimed, and I'm thankful for that.
Yeah,
it was a lesson.
I don't really care if the youth of America and men today want to paint their nails of a younger generation. It's just I just keep going back to one word. Why? Just why?
Well, we don't see it that often.
And also, like, for people to take this and, oh, he's going to go to Tennessee now. I never thought that either, right? I just thought this is the weirdest thing to do.
It's now, he's a VFL now.
He's teasing a transfer to Tennessee. You know, after a loss to Tennessee. That wouldn't make a lot of sense for a guy from Mobile,
No, the
Alabama.
guy can ball, but...
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a Tennessee fan. I would take him. But look, I'd gladly accept him on the roster if he'd like to transfer. But I never thought that or read that much into it.
Would you accept any players from USC right now?
I'm sure there's some I would.
There's
not all.
A lack of poise right now with the Trojans.
Yeah,
they're making the wrong kind of history. In their 4 losses, they've been in the fourth quarter with a 90% chance or more to win the game based on win probability. 4 losses, fourth quarter win probability greater than 90%. This is USC football. Lack of poise. Quarterback with Miller Moss, coach's decisions. You've got penalties, turnovers. There's plenty of things to point to. Defense getting gashed by the run game. Chad.
So Michigan, Minnesota.
Yep. And you can see
they
the
won
fourth
a close
quarter,
one against LSU.
Close to 100%
so there's
there.
One close one for them.
And then, as we scroll through them.
Penn State was a wild
one.
At
halftime.
Big lead.
Yeah. Look, I mean, just some of the 92% in the fourth quarter.
It's tough.
Losing. And it will continue.
The Maryland one was the worst.
This is USC. 97% chance to win in the fourth quarter.
Well,
Loss.
so, and it's why Lincoln Riley has no answers. I don't mind in postgame. He's done a lot of things and had a lot of missteps with the media, where he's like yelling, don't answer that question or ask a better question to the media, to perfectly fine questions time and again. But after that Minnesota game, when he is asked about, hey, what is it about this team with all the close calls and losing in the end, he just, I don't know. I don't really have an answer for you. That's fine. Like, sometimes it's a little bit unexplainable.
He's got to have an answer.
Well, he's got to eventually figure it out. But, I mean, in the aftermath of it, like, if that's how you feel, then okay. Let's get to the root of it and figure it out, though.
I mean, they're in the same thought for me.
USC should not be losing to Maryland or Minnesota.
Minnesota, no. You go on the road and win that game.
Or, quite frankly, this Michigan team.
Yeah.
Penn State, okay. That's an undefeated team in a close game.
36 yards passing?
Yeah.
And they won that game? Yeah. The other thing, too, it was 2 years ago now, or last year in the preseason, that there was a USC reporter that overheard some conversation about a player and, like, something with his father or whatever, and did some feel-good story, and Lincoln Riley tried to have him banned because of the off-the-record.
It was actually a positive story.
Yes. Like, that's Lincoln Riley then. Now he has no answers whenever he's actually asked legitimate questions. For the negative story.
I keep watching Lincoln Riley, and I wonder, why did he leave Oklahoma in the first place? Like, what did he think he was getting?
Well, the idea was he was leaving Oklahoma to get out of the SEC.
I mean, I guess, and now he's in the Big Ten.
I know.
So that's not helping him, but I don't know. It's a very strange – he seems like an odd dude that's not very comfortable with who he is.
Agreed.
Like, when you react that way and you're that worked up about little things like that with the media, I think it shows some cracks in the facade where you're not fully
You gotta have
not
answers.
fully certain of yourself.
That's right.